right now on CBS 4 News.
I'm Dave Warren. Moisture's working its way back into the area, upping our rain chances. I'll look at the radar and see if it's impacting your neighborhood.
A Florida judge temporarily blocks a 15-week ban on abortions while the legal action was short-lived.
A pregnancy clinic vandalized in Hialeah, but who did it and why? What a surveillance camera captured.
Plus, new developments in the mass shooting at a 4th of July parade in Illinois. Another victim has died as disturbing details emerge about the man police arrested.
We're live on air and always streaming on CBS News Miami with the CBS News app. Good evening, I'm Lauren Pastrana.
And I'm Elliot Rodriguez. CBS 4 News at 5 starts right now.
This is CBS 4 News at 5.
We begin with a live look outside from our Lauderdale-by-the-Sea camera. We've had a mostly dry day in South Florida, but our rain chances could be going up.
Let's check in now with CBS 4 meteorologist Dave Warren for what we can expect for the next 24 hours. Hey, Dave.
Yeah, we're adding a little more moisture to the air here, so the showers are here with a complete forecast when I come back.
All right, Dave, thank you. Now at 5, a judge signed a temporary block to Florida's 15-week abortion ban, but that block only lasted about an hour before it was reinstated. That's because the state attorney general filed an appeal. And because the state appealed the block, the law automatically goes back into effect. We'll have more on what this means and what happens next in a live interview coming up in about 15 minutes.
It causes fear to our patients. It causes fear to the women that we serve.
A clinic that helps expectant mothers with their pregnancies victimized by vandals.
I mean, if we are for women and if we are for empowering women, then what's the point of, hurting an organization that it is doing this?
CBS 4 is live with what's being called a hate crime.
Hialeah police are confirming that the two people seen in the video behind me are persons of interest in this crime. CBS 4's Peter Dent spoke with the clinic's co-founder and reports from Hialeah. Peter.
Peter Dent, CBS 4 News.
As the booms of fireworks filled the night sky on the 4th of July, so did the sound of gunfire in Lauderhill. A child and an emergency vehicle both hit by bullets. We're learning that first responders were on a call during that gunfire that hit their vehicle. CBS 4's Joan Murray has more on what happened. Joan?
Lauderhill, Joan Murray, CBS 4 News.
Okay, Joan, thanks a lot. We have new details tonight on the 4th of July parade shooting in Highland Park, Illinois. A 7th person has died.
Also tonight, more details are being released about the suspected gunman as well as the victims. CBS 4's Marissa Perlman has the latest from Highland Park.
Police say the man CBS News, Highland Park, Illinois.
Investigators believe the gunman acted alone and that his victims were random. They were still deciding which charges to file against him. Coming up at 5:30, we'll go live to Chicago for more on the investigation there.
And shots fired on I-95. Police say bullets rang out in the southbound lanes near Northwest 95th Street in Miami. A woman told investigators she was driving on the highway when she noticed a black Mercedes-Benz sedan and a dark green Lamborghini SUV speeding down the road. The people inside were shooting at each other. One of those bullets struck the woman's windshield, causing glass to shatter and cut her forehead. Luckily, she was not seriously hurt. If you have any information that can help, call police. And police are searching for a driver who slammed a car into a home and then took off. It happened overnight on Northwest 124th Street and 13th Avenue in North Miami. Officers arrived on the scene to find half the car inside the house. The family living there did not want to speak to CBS 4 about what happened, and it's unclear if the home has officially been deemed unsafe.
Well, on this day after Independence Day, we are tracking the tropics tonight because a wave could increase our chance for rain.
Let's check in with meteorologist Dave Warren for the latest. Hey, Dave.
It's all we're tracking is a wave, so that means more showers and storms. It's in the complete forecast. That's when I come back.
Dave, thank you. Still ahead on CBS 4 News at 5, the July 4th sky lit up by more than just fireworks. An intense fire breaking out at a longtime popular restaurant in Palmetto Bay. What might have sparked the flames next.
Ambushed and attacked. Violent robberies caught on camera in Fort Lauderdale tonight, who police have arrested.
Also, tons of seaweed washing up on our shores. Did you wonder what's being done with it? Find out just ahead at 5:30.
Now at 5, as we reported at the top of the newscast, 1 hour after a Florida judge signed a temporary block to the 15-week abortion ban, the state appealed and the block was nullified.
And for a better understanding of what this means, we're joined right now by Nova Southeastern University law professor Robert Jarvis. And Professor, first of all, thank you for joining us. What is next for these health providers who are trying to expand abortion access?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Right now, they have to do nothing. They have to stand down because the new law is back in effect, and they'll have to wait to see what the First District Court of Appeal in Tallahassee decides to do.
This seems like it could all potentially become a big back and forth between the judge and the legal system and the governor and the rest of his administration, going back and forth with appeals and then blocking and then nullifying the blocks. How long can we potentially be seeing them deal with this in the courts?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I think it will move very quickly. I think that the First District Court of Appeal in Tallahassee will either very quickly decide that Judge Cooper was wrong, or alternatively, they could try to send the case to the Florida Supreme Court. And I suspect that if they do that, the Florida Supreme Court will accept the case. But I think probably the next year or so, we could see a back and forth. It just depends on what the judges decide to do.
One more question. When this ruling first came down, we heard, and we had heard before from legal scholars, that Florida's Constitution has a protection of privacy, right, which was the basis of Roe v. Wade. Will that be the argument that the attorneys who want to overturn this law will make in court?
Well, actually, our constitutional provision, which we put into our Constitution in 1980, is separate and apart from Roe v. Wade. So we're really past the point now of thinking about Roe v. Wade. The real question is now, what about a case called In Re TW? That's a 1989 Florida Supreme Court decision that said no matter whatever happens to Roe v. Wade, it doesn't have any impact here in Florida because we have this special separate privacy provision in our Constitution. So that's really where our focus is now. In Re TW, it's no longer about Roe or Dobbs, the case that the U.S. Supreme Court just used to overrule Roe.
But if it ends up in the U.S. Supreme Court, we know what's going to happen given the makeup of the court, no?
This won't go to the U.S. Supreme Court. This is now purely a state law issue. That's what the U.S. Supreme Court did in Dobbs. It said we no longer want to we no longer want to hear abortion cases. So this is now firmly a Florida Supreme Court issue.
And as the Supreme Court seems like it wanted all along to have this be a matter handled by each of the states individually. Robert Jarvis with Nova Southeastern University, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. All right, new details tonight. Following violent robberies in Fort Lauderdale, police say they have arrested a man responsible for targeting 2 women on separate occasions. The suspect, 29-year-old William Wimberly. We have video from one of the incidents, and we want to warn you, it's pretty tough to watch. This was a pretty violent attack. It shows a man tackling a woman to the ground and beating her with a gun in the 3200 block of West Davie Boulevard earlier this month. In a previous incident, police say the same suspect grabbed the woman's necklace and took off on a scooter. Wimberly is facing multiple charges, including aggravated battery with a firearm.
A Florida mother who says she fed her child a vegan diet has been found guilty of first-degree murder after her child died from starvation. Sheila O'Leary and her husband, Ryan Patrick O'Leary, were indicted in December 2019 for abusing and neglecting their 4 children. Their 18-month-old son died of malnutrition and dehydration that same year. The couple reportedly told police they're vegans and only eat raw fruits and vegetables. Now the mother is facing a life sentence with no chance of getting out of prison. Her sentencing is scheduled for July 25th. Ryan O'Leary is expected to go to trial later this year.
Flames shot into the sky at the popular Golden Rule seafood market and restaurant in Palmetto Bay.
The blaze burned through the outdoor dining area. The Golden Rule is open for business, but as CBS 4's Hank Tester reports, the restaurant faces a major cleanup and restoration.
A 4th of July, Hank Tester, CBS 4 News.
Glad to see that they were able to reopen despite the fire and what they're dealing with, although it is kind of a nice day to eat outdoors if you can, right, Dave?
And we're keeping that trend going out here. We'll keep those storms around Monday and Tuesday there for next week.
Dave, thank you. Still ahead on CBS 4 News at 5. Breaking barriers. History is made in the NHL. The San Jose Sharks hiring the league's first ever black general manager, and he has close connections to the Miami Dolphins. We'll tell you what they are next.
Miles of seaweed making our pristine beaches look, well, less than pristine. But wait till you see how it's now being used to make South Florida more beautiful. New at 5:30.
4th of July celebration turns to tragedy. We're live outside Chicago with more on the aftermath of the deadly parade shooting. Mike Grier, the brother of Miami Dolphins general manager Chris Grier, is making NHL history.
Today, the San Jose Sharks announced Mike Grier as the team's general manager. That makes him the NHL's first black GM. CBS 4 sports anchor Jim Barry joins us now with more on this historic hire. Jim.
Guys, this is big because the NHL is the last of the, and his two sons raised the bar as it should be. Talk about overachievers in that family. Goodness gracious. Wow.
Very cool.
We wish him well.
He worked his way up.
Except when he plays the Panthers.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. Jim,
enemies.
thank you.
You got it.
That does it for CBS 4 News at 5.
CBS 4 News at 5:30 starts now.
This is CBS 4 News at 5:30.
If you've been to the beach recently, you've likely seen it. A lot of seaweed washing up on shore. Crews work to remove it, but then what do they do with it? Fort Lauderdale has a program that repurposes that seaweed, turning it into something you can use.
Yeah, it's tough having to hurdle over all that seaweed, right?
Careful.
CBS 4's Ted Scouten joins us live from Fort Lauderdale Beach with more on this, how this program works. Ted.
Beach, Ted Scouten, CBS 4 News.
All right, Ted, good to know. I did not know that before. Now, South Floridians are used to seeing that seaweed along the shore, but what causes so much of it? CBS 4's Austin Carter explains.
Well, brown sargassum can cause skin rashes and blisters.
Also tonight, police in Delray Beach are trying to find the person who shot and killed 2 people. It reportedly happened during a 4th of July party last night. 2 men were killed. Police say there is no threat to the community. Independence Day celebrations turned to panic in Orlando when the crowd thought they heard gunshots. It happened during a fireworks display. You can see the crowd below running after hearing a noise. Many people attending July 4th celebrations were more on edge following the deadly parade shooting in Illinois earlier in the day. And here's ground cell phone video of families grabbing their stuff and running away. Orlando's police chief later tweeted that there was no evidence of a shooting in the area and that there was no public safety hazard.
In Philadelphia, a police officer and a sheriff's deputy were shot during a 4th of July celebration there, and the shooter is still on the run. The deputy was hit in the shoulder and the officer grazed in the forehead. This video shows the panic after someone began shooting. Police say they do not know if the officers were hit intentionally or from celebratory gunfire. The mayor spoke about the shooting.
It was a laid-back shit, whatever they want. It's like Dodge City.
Both officers are now home from the hospital. And also tonight, Akron, Ohio's mayor plans to lift a downtown curfew tomorrow if protests over the police shooting death of a man remain peaceful. Black Lives Matter! Akron's mayor declared state of emergency after days of protests there. Authorities say Jayland Walker fired a round and ran off after officers tried to pull him over for a traffic violation last week. After Walker jumped out of the car, the police chief says Walker appeared to reach down to his waist and turn toward officers who were chasing him. Officers shot him 60 times, killing him. No gun was found on him. Police say they later found a gun in his car.
Are you angry? Are you hurt? How are you feeling?
I'm angry. I'm pissed off. I'm disgusted. I want a new mayor. I want new leadership in this city.
Protesters are demanding a Justice Department investigation of the police department's culture and policies.
We have some sad news to share with you tonight. Our friend and former colleague, Rob Hanrahan, has passed away. Rob most recently worked at the CBS affiliate in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He retired last year, not long after suffering and surviving cardiac arrest. During his time at CBS 4, Rob anchored alongside our friend Maggie Rodriguez, covering everything from hurricanes to championship parades. Rob, Maggie, and our team were awarded a National Edward R. Murrow Award for breaking news coverage of a shooting inside a jetway at Miami International Airport back in 2006. But the greatest thing that Rob took from his time at CBS 4, he met his wife Stacy here. Rob is survived by Stacy and their son and daughter. Rob Hanrahan was 60 years old. And, you know, after he suffered his heart attack, he retired from the TV station in Harrisburg, and he was optimistic about his future, saying that he was going to change his eating habits, his exercise habits, and really concentrate on his health and concentrate on his relationship with his wife and his little boy. And that's why this one is so tough to take.
Yeah, and I didn't get the pleasure of working with him because he worked here before I did, but I did watch him because I'm from South Florida, so I did get to see him and Maggie hard at work for all those years. So truly a loss for his family, and we send them our thoughts and prayers.
Our condolences to Stacy and the entire Hanrahan family.
And still ahead at 5:30, cheering quickly turns to screaming and now mourning near Chicago. How the city is coping in the aftermath of the deadly parade shooting. We're live next.
Millions of people in South Sudan desperate for food, the sacrifices many families are now being forced to make after the break.
Plus, frightened by fireworks, if your pet is missing, why there's a good chance it's at a local animal shelter. That's all new at 6.
I'm Dave Warren. A little change with our weather here. Moisture on the increase. A few showers are trying to move together and hold together as they move towards the East Coast. Little activity in the Keys right now. Tomorrow could see this activity increase. The timing of these showers and storms as they develop across the area. Coming up with a forecast.
A seventh person has died in the suburban Chicago Independence Day parade shooting.
Officials say the gunman fired more than 70 rounds with an AR-15 style gun into the crowd. Adriana Diaz is field anchoring the CBS Evening News from Chicago tonight, where the city of Highland Park is in deep mourning.
Adriana, this has been on the mind of so many people, especially during the 4th of July holiday. What can you tell us? What's the latest from there?
Elliot and Lauren, you said it. A seventh person has died today. So now there are 6 people who died at the scene. A seventh person died in the hospital. 45 people were injured. The youngest, just 8 years old. Can you imagine? The people lined up on this roof right behind me on the sidewalk. And we actually spoke to a mother who had her whole family with her, her husband, her 3 young children, and her mother. They were all sitting on the curb watching the parade go by. They said that the fire department had just gone by, the police department had just gone by, and then they heard something that they said was not mistakable with anything else. They said they knew it wasn't firecrackers, they knew it was gunshots, and they ran. They said that the father had to actually throw some of his children over a wall as they tried to get away. And these are the stories that are pouring out of this community. Everybody knows someone. This is a tight-knit community north of Chicago, and right now, you know, they are breathing a little bit easier because for hours yesterday, the suspect was at large. He is in custody. He is talking to investigators. He has not yet been charged, but that could happen at any moment. Elliot, Lauren.
Adriana Diaz live for us tonight near Chicago and also live on the CBS Evening News. We look forward to your reporting from the scene of this deadly parade shooting. Adriana, thank you.
Thank you.
And we're getting a look at the impact of hunger and how it's pushing families to make very tough decisions. This is a celebration in South Sudan, but the reason for it is not really one to celebrate. The World Food Program has suspended food aid to nearly a third of the more than 6 million people it meets there. And the person being celebrated here at this festivity is a 14-year-old girl getting married in exchange for food.
I know I'm young, she says, but I want my family to survive on the dowry they will get.
The Nekuot Manuan community has been surviving on water lilies, but her groom will pay her family in the form of 60 cows for her hand in marriage. CBS 4's Deborah Pata spoke with Nekuot's father.
She's a child. How does it make you feel as a father? It hurts, her father says. The cows we are getting are hardly worth it. But we are afraid we don't have anything to eat.
$15 a month feeds a school child in South Sudan and ensures an education.
Heartbreaking. And still ahead on CBS 4 News at 5:30, BYOJ, bring your own jar. how some grocery stores are hoping you'll help them save the planet next.
In our Eye on Earth tonight, plastic packaging from grocery stores often ends up in landfills. Now, some stores are getting rid of the packaging altogether. Plastic-free, zero-waste grocery stores offer many traditional grocery items, but without the pre-packaged plastic. The items are stored in large bins and dispensers. Shoppers will need to have or buy glass jars to put those items in.
I think you could see more coming consumer who's willing to go through a greater degree of inconvenience for that.
Food industry consultant Corey Chafin says the biggest hurdle these stores face is changing shoppers' behavior.
Let's check in right now with Dave Warren. I see some green behind you, Dave.
Weather's trying to change its behavior just a little. Storms there, working their way to the interior.
Dave, thank you. Still ahead on CBS 4 News, let all the backstabbing begin. The 24th season premiere of Big Brother is set to air right here on CBS. Meet the new house guests, including one from South Florida, and check out their digs in a sneak peek next.
And coming up, call Guinness. There might be a new record holder for cuteness. Meet South Florida's new baby flamingo, all new at 6. Big Brother fans, the wait is nearly over. Another summer of expecting the unexpected gets underway tomorrow night here on CBS 4.
The house guests who will live together 24/7 in the Big Brother house were revealed just a couple of hours ago. Among them, a 41-year-old woman from Fort Lauderdale who still calls South Florida home.
Here's host Julie Chen Moonves with a sneak peek at season 24.
I'm so excited. Our 24th season.
And you can watch Big Brother's 90-minute 24th season premiere tomorrow night at 8, followed by the premiere of Challenge USA. Then, of course, stay up and join us for CBS 4 News at 11. The house is
a lot of energy
so cool.
there.
Yeah, interesting mix.
Drinking a lot of Red Bull or something.
You gotta
I don't know what it is.
Stay on your game in the Big Brother house.
That's CBS 4 News at 5:30.
Here's what's next on CBS 4 News at 6.
Right now on CBS 4 News.
Well, coming in our house here in South